I'll move on to something that's more exciting and more sexy, and that's our girl Ludell. She broke the internet after she released her sexy photos of herself modeling in Rihanna's Savage X Fenty lingerie. Take a look at this.
Okay, let's go, Lunel. Give them hell, Lunel.
Well, after posting her photos, Lunel decided to capitalize off her sexiness and started an OnlyFans account. Are y'all here for this? And shouldn't more women, older and younger, have this much confidence in their bodies? Because she arching that back, she got the sexy panties on. I didn't see no cellulite. What you think about this, Lisa Ray?
Honestly, I love when women feel good about themselves because it lets everyone else that's on their level and their position and their, and their figure. Yeah. Feel good about themselves. You know what I mean? And she does. She's always blinging. She's always, she says what she says. She's unapologetic. She's a mom, you know what I mean? So she's a woman and she's a lady. You know what I mean? So she know how to get down with the get down. She's been there, done that. So she know what it is to be put on some lingerie and what that means. So she like, for all of y'all that understand what this is, and y'all been there too, get with it.
All right. I'm going to make this, it's a commentary. I want it to be brief. It might not be brief. But, we keep playing this game of badminton and shit, slapping the insults back and forth over the net and everything. And I don't mind doing that because ultimately my content is meant to help young men or men in general have a better quality of life and shit. Just do some sage advice I could offer, I truly want men to find a healthy life balance and shit. Find out what fulfills them in life, because a lot of us go through life, a lot of us in the past have gone through our entire lives in servitude of, other people's interests, or the minority majority at large, and hadn't even realized it until now. All right. I showed these clips at the beginning because, I wanted you to get a sense of what I'm talking about. And, I always do, I'll just do I rarely do a blind commentary where I'm just talking about some shit. I like to give you examples and visuals to look at, And today, it just came to me that there's not apparent, but there's no more real old, matriarchs. There's no classic matriarchs left anymore. What we have is a tragic parody and shit. It's like a joke. All right. And if you listen to these people and shit, you deserve what you get. All right. That goes for both genders. Sometimes I do talk to women on here. I doubt that they'll see it and shit. And if they come to my page with some nonsense, to go into the block party and shit, where there's no food or nothing, just a wall they're looking at and shit, and that's the wall they pass through and shit, and that's why they suck. There's no matriarchs anymore. All right. We see the most egregious behavior and shit, and I have been waiting, and I have yet to see any elder stateswoman with some fucking integrity and shit. Beyond the people that we already know, who shall go unnamed and shit, because, if you look at my page and shit, it's pretty much like it's kind of like, it's not an inversion of the divester page or that misandric page and shit, but it is a male-oriented page and shit, and I just don't take no shit over here. All right? There's no matriarchs anymore. From what I'm seeing and shit, we just got, we got a mess here. And then, I got to think about it and shit, like some of the women that's older than me, like, old enough to be my fucking aunt, my grandma or something, that's big up in the shitty behavior of, their daughters and granddaughters and so on and so forth and shit. Where they always like this, and we didn't know, but our grandfathers tolerated this shit. A lot of times, when I was a kid and whatnot, and I saw older men in the family, they were usually inert matter at some point. Like they did their business and shit, and they were just mutely silent. And it's starting to make more sense and shit as I get older. I'm up in up in age. I'm a Generation Xer. It started to make sense why you go when you're a young man and you see an older man, in his home, a guy that actually has a home that hasn't been run out of the fucking thing. He's usually inert matter, and she's just sitting there, watching the game or some other shit. Then they get up, they begrudgingly, they take care of their home and shit. If there's a good guy, take care, work on the car and all this shit, and they're very quiet and everything. And the woman is just doing whatever and shit. The woman is supposedly the heart of the house, but I always wondered if, now I'm wondering if maybe that guy was just worn out and shit. I myself, was worn out, in my, legal marriage and shit, and some other relationships. I got worn out, and I noticed that men tend to get silent when they're starting to feel it. When the emotional turmoil, the abuse that we take from the world and, people in our own fucking homes, takes a toll. We get silent and shit. Then that's where you get women talking about, oh, he doesn't communicate and this and that and other. No, he's trying to keep the peace. He wants to tell you you're getting on his fucking nerves and he wish you'd go somewhere with that shit. Okay? Wish you'd kick rocks or something. But, we all know the consequences. He's going to have to part with all the shit he worked with, everything he's built up. And it's still up to the woman. At a whim, she can still take that shit, So it makes marriage fucking crabs in a bucket and shit. Bad investment, bad for insurance, bad, I just say fuck it. That's why you have, back in the day, a lot of guys were just getting the fuck out. A lot of women don't want to admit that these guys were getting the fuck out. They're talking about Papa was a Rolling Stone. If they wasn't, somebody take them out and shit between working home and shit, they were getting the fuck out because the woman was intolerable and shit. That's where you get this thing where a guy had like 2 families and shit and all this crap. He was just trying to start over. Guys try to fix problems and shit. But I'm looking at the bullshit that we're seeing today and shit. We see a lot of old women competing with younger women and shit. And I hate to say that. They're also, besides competing with these younger women, they're giving them the worst life of, advice, teaching them all the wrong shit, and competing with them. That old woman is looking at her granddaughter's boyfriend with nasty, salacious eyes like a predator and shit, like a pervert, it's female perverts. We got to stop lying about this shit. People need to come out more with stories about, shit, improprieties, sexual improprieties in their own fucking families and shit with these weird ass people. It's not just a weird, creepy uncle or cousin at the cookout and shit. They tell you don't talk to that guy, It's not that. It's some creepy aunts out there and elders, whoever, elders and shit you got to watch out for. And we're just seeing it bubbling to the top. All right? We're just seeing it bubbling to the top. A couple of months ago, that fucking, Chitlin Circuit comedian Lou Neal, who's also an agent and shit and stabbed motherfuckers, other fellow celebrities in the back routinely and shit. She made an OnlyFans page, okay? And the Fox Soul, the harpies, the witches circle over there, that sewing circle of bitches, misandrous, excuse me, they were big up in Lunel. A woman in her 60s, in her mid-60s, opening an OnlyFans page and laying up there in a thong and in a bra and shit and talking about how she was going to get Darius McCary from Family Guys to make a special scene and shit. I don't know if that happened or not, but if it does, I will cover it laughing my ass off. Yeah, they were big up in Lunel with her bullshit. She also appeared in the movie as a stripper and, shook her ass and titties and shit. It's just fucked up. And then you see a bunch of crap. You see a lot of these old broads, in media and everything. They know they're past the wall and they just don't want to get the fuck out of there. They don't want to get the fuck off the stage and keep it moving and shit. They don't have no decorum. They might as well, you kick it in the, that F&F video with fucking Glorilla and shit. There's no women, there's no older women actually teaching the younger women the right way to behave and comport themselves in a polite society. No more My Fair Lady teaching them how to, keep their legs closed when they sit down, how to, clean up down there, how to wash that out, how to use a douche properly and shit. And I'll posit that I'll even drop a story and shit. I had to bounce a female out of my situation, out of my circle. She was hanging out at my house and shit, and I decided to be a nice guy, and I went in, I went in, shopping or something, and I said, hey, she's been over here for a couple of days. I'll help her out. I bought her some women feminine products, and she got super offended and made an argument in front of my friend and said some crass shit and was ejected from my home. All right, and I didn't know what to make of it and shit at the time. And then I just start seeing women with bad behavior and shit. When I lived on the West Coast, I can't tell you how many old ass black women and shit, and one Caribbean woman and shit, obviously. A couple of old black women were trying to like glom onto me and shit, and I was younger, you know. One woman tried to get me to take some drugs with her, and I'm not talking about a joint. She wanted to take some hard shit, and I excused myself and walked out and shit. And I just thought that was fucked up. I thought it was greasy and nasty, and I didn't know how to react to it and shit. But I think nowadays, a lot of young men, you know, need to come on out and start telling these stories in public and shit. We could make it where it started with August Alsina. He should have talked about what happened with Jada, you know. He should have. We need more guys. There's more August Alsinas out there, and we need them to come out and tell their stories. Okay, and I don't care. Don't listen to other niggas, disparaging you. If you trick on an old bitch that's doing, sexually grooming you and messing with your ass and shit. We need more of these guys to pop up and shit. If you have a story to tell, you can put it in my comment section. Okay. You can put it in there, shit. I'll highlight it, I'll pin it. But I'm just tired, We see a lot of shitty ass behavior. It's toxic. A couple of times I've almost quit posting on my own platform and shit during 2022. The closing ends of 2022, I came so close to just saying fuck it and not posting shit no more. And it's never gonna happen and shit. I'm gonna keep posting until the minority majority gets me, or these females figure out I'm right there looking at them and shit. There's a reason I use the avatar that I use and whatnot. I want to be honest about it. It's a dig at the. If anyone actually reads, it's a dig at Christmas Carol. The ghost of Christmas Future. He was a hooded guy that looked like death, and that's the avatar I use with some adjustments. I think it's sad, A third of men, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I believe it's just a very small, group of men that's traveling overseas, that's able to travel. Other guys are caught up in the system already and shit. And I want these guys to be okay too. I want them to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish and pursue your own needs, and to the exclusion of all else. You have to learn. You have to learn to break that chain. Okay. It is not other people's welfare, that's not under your umbrella, under your belief system and shit. What you wanna do with your life and everything. If they can't fit in there, they don't belong in your fucking house. If the female don't know her role, she don't belong in your fucking house. It doesn't matter what she brings. Most of the time, all they can bring to the table is their peace leave and shit, and enhanced sexual pedigree that would dwarf yours. Okay, I'm telling you, I can't tell you the number of women I've been with, where we were messing around or something, and then at some point she said, "Hey, maybe I might want to stick around with this guy," and then next thing you know, this bitch is on doing out a porn star experience. It just blew me away. You would never know, But looking at what we've been looking at, shit, there's no more matriarchs. Maybe they're extinct and shit. We don't have any more old mamas, like really mothers, and are down here in the slave quarters in the colonies. We don't have them to guide these women properly. That's why you have a giant glut of these, sluts. A giant glut. A glut of shitty, nasty ass behavior that's gone unchecked and shit, and still it will remain that way until something of biblical proportion happen and shit. But just honestly and shit, I'm telling guys, turn your backs. All right, turn your backs to date out and shit. Don't listen to this bullshit. After a while, you have to learn to tune it out. Till it's just a whisper in your ear. Even that shit with the, people, they keep talking about white women white women, and shit. It's like, god damn. A lot of the dudes that I know that were dating out or have foreign wives, they're from Africa, from Mexico. I seen one dude with a Brazilian wife and shit. And I seen one dude with a Russian wife. And I want to get on that. A Russian wife. She was from Siberia. He was an older dude in my age group. And she was his same age, a little bit older than him and shit. And this woman was ride or die. Just ride or die and shit. This Russian woman that I knew that had a black. She didn't ever even tell me the dude was black. One day she said, "Oh, I took a Christmas picture with my boyfriend," and she said, "Hey, you want to see we're by the tree?" And it was like her with a brother, like a kind of chubby brother and shit. And I said, "Oh, it's a." I didn't say nothing, but she saw the look on my face. She said, "Yes, my boyfriend is black." And she told me they were living in. This was on the West Coast. They were living in a gated community. It's like one of her racist neighbors, like an old person of a certain faith, and I won't say his name. I want to be canceled. I want to be like Kyrie, but a person of that faith called the cops and said that a black man was holding a woman hostage in that apartment. And they came there, and she went out and talked to the cops. Like about 4 or 5 LAPD showed up to the door ready to kick it in. And she opened the door and shit. She told me that she removed her blouse. This Russian woman, she removed her blouse and was standing there in her bra with her leash. And she was like, "Motherfucker," she was saying this to the cops. She would say, "Motherfucker, read. Can you read, motherfucker? That's his name. Mr. Jackson, right above mine. I'm a co-signer. He's paying for this shit with his pension." And the cops felt like assholes and ended up apologizing because she was just going off and shit. She said she didn't lost it. She didn't even realize she was yelling at them in Russian and shit. And I was just like, damn. I said, "You down for your crown and shit." And she told me I should get a Russian wife. She told me I should get a Russian wife. Isn't that something? Yeah, she wasn't fucking around. And I was like, why'd you take your shirt off? She said, "I want to make sure they shoot through me first. I know if those fuckers kill a white woman, they'll be in trouble." So, I was standing in front of him. He didn't want me to do that. But I told him to get the fuck back. I was going to hit him with a skillet if he tried to open that door. And she opened the fucking door wide with her bra. She told me that she had considered removing all of her clothes. And I said, "Why would you do something like that?" She said, "I see how they treat black men in this country." And that was in the 2000s. Yeah, she said that. I see how. And then she talked about her life growing up in Siberia and all this shit and some of the stuff that she went through. It was just amazing. I miss her today. Right? It's all about freedom of movement, freedom of speech. It has nothing to do with, black women or fucking with them or demonizing them. They just can't take it and shit. If I think like a black woman with any kind of a brain cell want us to be, even a misandrist is going to make some kind of shitty video about us. It should be a video laughing at us for barely catching up to black women now who've been going overseas for looking for dicks since the 70s. All right, since the 70s, man. And brothers a larger group of brothers are just starting to realize that. I saw my first Passport Bro documentary years ago. This is no new shit. It's just that you guys are ignorant of this shit. You're just bored sitting in your house and you found something to key on. Everything does not revolve around a black woman and shit. Okay, we're not idolizing white women, but it would behoove me not to go there and shit because you guys can't get off your white woman kick and shit. You can't get off of it and shit. Stop treating your men like shit, That's what I would say normally and shit, but I'm more enlightened today. So we'll leave you as you are, and we'll tell these young guys to get the fuck out, GTFO of this bullshit, because there's nothing going on, under the glass ceiling over here in the colonies and shit, okay? Nothing going on and shit. Be selfish above all else. And when push comes to shove, the first thing I want you youngsters to think about, I want you to think about this acronym, SYSBM. You know what that means now. Save yourself, black man.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. twerk, 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 twerk. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.